Now to the reaction of the president's tweet yesterday about Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, that the New York Democrat, quote, would come to my office begging for campaign contributions not so long ago and would do anything for them. And he put that in parentheses. Noah, I'd like to point out that's different than his other tweets. That's not like the other tweets.
Mika, don't get in the weeds yet. You're talking about tweets.
I'm not going to
finish down the story, then Noah can get
whether
in.
or not there was sexual innuendo here. There was. And here is Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who I was really hoping would tell the truth. She did not. Here she is at the briefing yesterday.
The president said today that Senator Gillibrand would do anything for campaign contributions. Many people see this as a sexual innuendo. What is the president suggesting?
I think that the president is very obvious. This is the same sentiment that the president has expressed many times before when he has exposed the corruption of the entire political system. In fact, he's used similar terminology many times when talking about politicians of both parties, both men and women, and certainly in his campaign to drain the swamp. The system is clearly broken. It's clearly rigged for special interest, and this president is someone that can't be bought, and it's one of the reasons that he's president today.
I want to know how she does that, and where the chief of staff is, and where anybody else in the White House is this morning, or where they were after that tweet went out yesterday. The president should have taken it down. The president should have apologized if he didn't take it down. He should have apologized for hurting Senator Kirsten Gillibrand's feelings at the very least. But he should have apologized for being a sexist pig, for sexually harassing on Twitter, for using sex to denigrate women. And again, I mentioned yesterday, the president is obsessed with women, especially some women, especially women who go on television and have a voice, or especially women who serve in Congress or in the Senate who use their voices. Any woman that stands up against him, he is obsessed with. He has some special problem with women. And the women around him, his wife, who has a platform against cyberbullying, that's a joke. That is the saddest thing I've ever seen in this White House, ever in my life. And his daughter, who came to Washington to work for the president and develop a platform for women, go home. Go home. You're doing nothing if you stand by this president. And you should think of the country rather than your brand. And I'll tell you right now, Sarah Huckabee Sanders, I feel sorry for you. I've started a hashtag support for Sarah, and get your mind out of the gutter. I seriously support you in your quest for truth, in your quest for goodness, in your quest for love of country, because you haven't made it there yet. And I'm not just talking about the women in the White House. I'm talking about the entire White House, all the men around this president. Do you really go home to your wives and daughters and say this president knows what he's doing? This president stands up for women? Do you really do that? Your wives should kick you out. Here's Steve Schmidt.
She doesn't have a difficult job. She has an easy job. Tell the truth to the American people. She's an assistant to the President of the United States. She swore an oath to the Constitution of the United States, which she disgraces every day as she serially lies hour after hour after hour every day. And it bears mentioning, just for a moment, how abnormal this is. The assault, the constant assault on the dignity and the majesty of the office of the President of the United States. And this is exactly the reason the President of the United States is not welcome in the United Kingdom. Because his presence standing next to Her Majesty the Queen is such an affront to her dignity that it has united the fractious parties of Great Britain in opposition to his setting foot on British soil.
The establishment media's disdain for the Trump administration is no secret. But recently, one of their biggest targets has been White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Case in point, this particularly personal broadside from MSNBC's Mika Brzezinski.
Those briefings are useless.
Well,
she does not say anything that is truthful, and she does not intend to. She's the one protecting a president who does that every day, who watches TV every day and tweets stupidity. What she is doing is helping damage this republic.
Those are just the nice things she said. Joining us now with reaction is White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders, who's freezing out there. Sarah, great to see you. Merry Christmas. How you doing?
It's great to be with you. A little cold, but other than that, we're doing great.
Sarah, we have big news to get to on tax reform. Big day. But I have to say, I've been watching you now for months in that briefing room with patience, with an ability to deal with the CRAP being thrown at you on a minute-by-minute basis. You have more patience than I would ever have. But then you hear comments like that from another a female journalist. How do you process that? That particular comment, which I found, of all of them said lately, particularly objectionable.
Look, it helps that I have 3 toddlers at home, so I'm pretty good at having a lot of patience and sometimes dealing with things that you don't always want to deal with. But look, this was a president who was elected by the forgotten men and women of this country, and a lot of liberals have contempt for those people, whether they're men, whether they're women, and they want to attack us. I think that it's a great reminder of why this president was elected. We're here to do a job. We're here to get big things done. That's what we're focused on. And if they want to focus on petty attacks, that's fine. Let them have at it. While they're doing that, we're going to get tax cuts passed in this country. We're going to continue to grow the economy, continue to create jobs, 2 million new jobs since this president came into office, and I'm sure a lot of those are going to women. And maybe we'll get to replace some of those female journalists out there that don't like us very much at some point. But the bottom line is, this is a president who's focused on getting things done, focused on getting things done for the men and women that, frankly, a lot of the liberal elites in this country don't like, have contempt for, and he's focused on empowering women, and he is doing that in the way he puts people in place in his administration. And I think it's sad that they're attacking a lot of us while claiming to champion women's causes and women's issues.
Yeah, I've been on the receiving end of that, but I wear it as all a badge of honor. The more they're attacking, the better job I think you're doing. Let's talk about this, just your role, because I think a lot of Fox people watching now, Fox viewers, they watch you out there doing combat, daily combat, and they think to themselves, okay, what if she's talking to the president and he says, you know, go out there and say this, but it's not something you're comfortable with. I'm not talking about any specific issue, but would you say to him, boss, that's not something I'm comfortable saying, but, you know, maybe get someone else to go out there and say that. Have you ever done that?
Look, if there was ever a moment that I wasn't comfortable doing something, I wouldn't do it. That's part of who I am. And this president's not going to ask me to do something I'm not comfortable with. If I get to a place, I can talk to him and come to a place where we agree on what the talking points and what the message is. But that's just not something I'm ever going to be part of. And I don't think or expect him to ever ask me to do anything that I'm not going to be comfortable doing. Look, I believe in what the president's doing. I believe in the agenda. I believe in what we're fighting for and the way that we're trying to spend every single day making America a better place. I think we've done a lot in the first 11 months, and I look forward to helping the president push that message over the next 7 years.